Hello, welcome to another edition of Smartphone Graphics Design Masterclass. So we'll be moving on from product flyer to product description flyer. Like what we have here now is an example of product flyer. So if you would recall, we had like two different designs, which is this one you're seeing on the screen and the other one you're just seeing now. So we'll be working on one of these two to convert to product description flyer. Now let me think about which of the two I would like to use for that purpose. I think I'm okay with this over the other one. So the next thing I'll be doing now is to create a copy of it so that I can edit and tweak it to become a product description flyer. So to create a copy of that, I will just click on this two. That's more like the page navigator. So once I click on it, it will give me an overview of both pages. Can you see that? So the next thing I will do is to click on duplicate. So I've succeeded in duplicating it. So I can now click on this to zoom in on that particular one. I can click on this now to zoom in on the third page I created, which I can now work on. So let me cancel. So we are there. So you can check now. You can see this is page 1, this is page 2, and this is page 3 where we want to work on. So the next thing I'll be doing now is to maintain just one of these frames and remove the other ones so that I can work on it. So let me start by deleting, delete group, let me select so I can delete in multiples since I'm deleting almost everything. Okay, sorry about that. Delete all this, delete all this, delete all this, delete all this, delete all this. Okay, delete. Okay, so I can now leave it with just this one so that we can edit on to create our description. So now the next thing I would like to do, let me just try and reduce the size of the image a little. Okay, that's okay. So I can now reduce the size of this ones to match up with the new size of the frame. So let me zoom in on it so that I can be able to move it perfectly, fix it in the frame perfectly. So okay, let me centralize. That's okay. Do the same for the 45 naira. Okay, that's fine. So I can zoom out. Okay, so the next thing I would like to do now is I want to use this one to replace it with the product description. So the next thing I would like to do is, okay, let me just change the picture to maybe a shoe kind of. So by clicking on duplicate, let me go to my uploads. Okay, let me leave it as that, since for the purpose of this slide, just about description. Let me leave it as that. So I can now change the text. Okay, what I've done is, when you're talking about your product description, you would have typed all the words that you want in your description. You would have typed it out already. So in my own case here, for the purpose of this class, I have the words typed and copied already. So all I have to do is just to edit, click on edit here, then press on what is available, just to highlight everything, and I click on paste. Can you see that? So this is the product description that was was able to come up with for this particular class. So you can see everything is modeled up. I can now adjust to my taste. So now what we want to achieve before I continue is this. It's going to be a kind of magazine concept. Like, let me explain. Just like what we have, it will form something, a shape like this. We'll have some of the text like this, and some will now come like this. Can you see that? Just for you to have an idea of what we want to do. So let's move in the text and adjust accordingly. Just by dragging the knobs. Yes, we are getting there. Adjust. Yes. And the next thing I want to do is to, maybe I'm not cool with that justification, with that alignment. So let me go to format and change it to justify. Yes, I'm better off with this. And let me change the size to lowercase. Okay, done. So even this word now is not enough to fit into what the space we have. So what I'll be doing is to do some copying and paste just for the purpose of this class. So let's continue. So you can adjust it. You can adjust the frame to wherever you want it to get to. So I think I'm okay with this. Now I can now drag it down a little. Just watch closely. Drag it down and use the flat knob again to adjust. If you look at it very well now, you see I've succeeded in dragging it down to match up with the lower base of the frame, have it? So I can now adjust sideways to match up with where I want it to get to sideways. Can you see that? So I can still bring it up a little, okay, and drag this sideways. Okay, can you see that now? So I've succeeded in making that part of the product description. So how about the lower part I described earlier on? So I can just duplicate and drag it down. So okay, if this is the margin I want to employ, it's okay. Then drag this one down as well. Can you see my purple grid line trying to guide me against exceeding the same? You can see Canva is very, very smart, and I hope with what we are seeing here, you are beginning to have an idea of what we want to achieve. So the next thing I would like to do is, you can see there is a space, a kind of space between here and here. So I want to harmonize in such a way that the line spacing will be equal. So what I will do in that case is just to drag the upper one down a little bit more, a little bit more. Okay, so you can now work on the margin, the side margin. Can you see? Okay, it's affecting the size that's overlapped. So now let me decide on what font size to use. So let me bring down the font size. So it has to be uniform for both. Let me say I want to use 60. Okay, 60 is okay. So now don't forget the goal of this, in the case where you have a lot of words, you understand, you know, for you to have employed this concept, it has to be a lot of words. You are trying to create a kind of product description, and at the same time this can also be useful for magazine creation. You know, all those magazines where you have a picture and you have words surrounding that picture. So, and you know, in most cases those are always very, very cumbersome set of words. So just to create that feel, let me just do some copying and pasting again so that it can fill up some space. So let me just take my cursor to the last page of this. Okay, let me zoom in. Last page of this, to add up some words, space, and paste again. Okay, let me copy some of the words. Okay, let me copy this and paste here. Okay, more words now. Okay, still learning. full stop space. And that settles it. Okay. Can you see that? So I have as much words to level up with the base of the frame. So, and this one too is here now. So with this now, we have been able to create a successful product description. So between the next bar and the upper bar, we still have the space is really not looking realistic yet. So all we'll just do is to do what? Just click on the lower bar and click on, use your nudge to drag it up a little bit so that it can match up with the line spacing of the top. Can you see? Can you see that? So now I'm okay with it now. So the line spacing, the space in between now is not different any longer. So you have successfully created your product description page simply by combining two text boxes. Can you see that? So this is actually meant for when you have bulky words, so that you can create a magazine kind of feel. In that case now, where you have your words normally that are much enough to occupy both space, what you do is to do what? You would copy the old text into the first bar here. That's, I mean, this first one. So you just stop it wherever you want. Let's say you stop it here. Wherever it gets to that it has filled the whole space according to what you have here, according to the base of your frame. So you now cut out the remaining words that you have here wherever it stops, so that you can now paste it in this one. In order not to confuse you further, so that I can paste the remaining words that could not occupy that space for the first bar. You will now copy and paste it in this second one, so to fill up the bar, and you'll be able to make your product description successfully. So thank you very much.